Admit.
Perfect. Hello, hello, welcome. Oh, I didn't know I pushed it again.
No, it was me. I did it by.
Oh, you did it. I was like, oh, I wasn't going to record like this. Okay. This is being live streamed to YouTube. Good. All righty. So, well, we can go ahead and actually get started because, Olga and I, like when we get talking, we will run out of time quite quickly. So it's important to cover everything we want to cover today. And of course, people who arrive late, they're welcome. And then they can also catch the recording on YouTube, the live stream. So
Yeah. So let's kick off. Welcome everyone. And today is a topic that I particularly like a lot because I get to work with it with my clients quite a lot. We were brainstorming with Susan what's next topic that we can bring in. And there's one that comes up all the time. We see clients who come to us and they say, I've been so successful, but something is not working now. And in the conversations, what we often discover is that they have done things a certain way. And there comes the time when things need to be done a different way to make that quantum leap. And it doesn't happen. And what is it that I need to be doing differently? And what is it that I should stop doing? And we thought we were gonna bring this topic for the live stream and discuss it with you and maybe share some client stories, some ideas on what can be done. And before we jump into it, just a quick reminder, I am Olga and I am an executive coach. I work with people in their mid-career and I help them with executive transitions to transition to their next roles. And over to Susan.
And then I hit so many things I cannot unmute. Hi, Susan. I am a career coach and focused on people who are looking for a change, any kind of change when it comes to their career. Maybe they're ready for a different kind of role or a step up or a completely different career altogether. And so these are the people I work with to help them reach their objectives.
Yeah. Thanks, Susan. And so to kick it off, and we thought we were going to do it sort of an interactive in chat, but we have 3 people on the call for the time being. You can unmute yourself and speak if you want. You can type in the chat, whatever is more comfortable for you. But to kick it off, we wanted to ask you, have you felt the situation when you were stuck because you keep doing the same things and they're not bringing the result you wanted anymore in your career? Maybe.
Me, Olga, me.
Yeah, me too. And Olympia says, "Oh yes." Anyone else?
I think that's the thing, right? Is that sometimes I think that's one of the most confusing things, right? Olga, you do something that worked before, and then you almost don't really understand when it's not working again. You say, but I don't know, this has always worked for me. What's wrong? What's going on now?
What's going on? So let's do, and Anita, thank you. We've seen your hand as well. Let's see if you don't mind sharing. Maybe you can type in or unmute yourself and share with us. What is it that stopped working for you? Or maybe you don't know. Just tell us you don't know.
Yeah, sometimes that happens too.
All right. We're waiting.
Can you say hi? Can you say the hello?
Hi, Anita.
Hi. Can you say the question again, please?
So if you felt that you've been doing everything right and you've been progressing, and then you got stuck, and something needs to happen, but something is not working. Have you identified what is it that is not working for you?
Most of the times I've been there in the past, and most of the times it's my attitude towards myself. It's like me standing with the baseball bat, you know, just do it, just do it. Like I'm not the person which that works for. Like some people, they need that, but then it paralyzes me. And maybe in the past it worked for me in a way. That's why I try to also keep doing it. Not sure.
Mm. It's really interesting. And Olympia is right in that, so you pretty much said what she wanted to say. Uh, but it's
I think
really,
this is a lot of people. I mean, myself included, right? It's how we talk to ourselves. It's our own mindsets.
yeah. But then the question is, when we say to ourselves, just do it, what is it that we say, just do it? Is it, sometimes, and there's a reason why we called the session What Got You Here Won't Get You There, because sometimes there's this little person with the bat, or a big person with the bat, keeps standing, and saying, just do it, just do it. But what is it that we need to do? And maybe we've been doing stuff before that is not working anymore. And the bad person is still saying, just do it. And it's a catch-22. So I think that's why we wanted to bring in some examples of things that we noticed have worked for our clients before and are not working now. And just to illustrate to you the comparison of, if we continue doing the same things and getting frustrated, that things are not changing, maybe there's time to change what we do, the things
Yeah.
we do. And Susan, do you want to kick off with your favorite? What's working now and what's not working?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think that kind of some things. Oh, and do you want me to say like some ones that that we've seen commonly, or do you want me to tell about
Yeah,
myself?
the common things that we've seen.
Yeah.
Read in the books, seen in our clients.
Yeah, exactly. Definitely some with people being so used to being the expert. So as they, for a common one we see, as they start to have a job that changes, maybe they are now a leader, or maybe they've shifted into something a bit different. They're still trying to handle everything. They want to touch everything. They want to do everything. But then they're not successful in this shifted role, in this new role, because they're still trying to control everything and they just can't. They're limited. They cannot.
Yeah. And also just on top of that, when people get used to doing everything, and it's probably more about the level of coaches that I work with, then they're seen as the doers. And then they aspire to be a director, a vice president, and so on, but they're never put up for these positions because doing everything is not the attribute of the new position. So something needs to change then, and they need to start behaving differently to be recognized. Yeah. And then another thing I want to throw in is, for example, to be helpful. Because in our early careers, we all make our way through by being helpful and saying yes all the time. And it's okay because we're working on a small scale. And then what happens afterwards when we want to progress, all of a sudden we are overwhelmed and there's just too much for us to do, and we can't cope. And then all of a sudden, from a good performer, we turn into a bad performer. And that person, Anita, to your great metaphor with the bat, is standing there and telling us, "Do more." How come you can't do it all? So that's another one. Always saying yes, not prioritizing, and not choosing what to do or what's strategically relevant to do. Yeah. Do you have another one, Susan?
Yeah, I was just thinking too about kind of this always saying yes, but moving, like I'm thinking about this constant perfectionism. When people are constantly worried about having everything perfect. And nothing's ever going to be perfect. We could keep working. Yeah, I know this is something you really struggle with, Olga. But nothing's ever going to be perfect.
Mhm.
And sometimes we're actually slowing down projects, we're slowing down goals, we're slowing down what we're working on because we're trying to make something perfect when really it's just, yeah, it's unachievable.
And it's fine being perfect in your early career. That what makes you grow and noticed. And then when you reach a certain level, that's something that needs to be worked on because you can't do it all in a perfect way. And that's back to the theme: what's got you here won't get you there. So
Mhm.
if you're stuck with the perfectionism, then it's going to be very difficult to move on in the career going forward. One other thing that I wanted to throw in is always knowing the answers. And that's kind of similar to being the expert, but it's being afraid not to know the answer and constantly sort of putting yourself under pressure to know the answers and to be always ready, as opposed to being okay with the ambiguity and embracing it and asking questions, sort of, what can be done, and being okay with this. And I think that's the biggest switch that people often are afraid, well, one of the biggest switches that people are
Mhm.
afraid to do, because they don't let themselves be comfortable with the ambiguity. And again, that's
Yeah.
something that knowing the answers brings people to a certain point in their career. And then it's okay not to know the answers, you know?
It's okay to rely on others to say, that's not my expertise. I oversee this, but let's bring in this expert.
Yeah. Is there anything else that comes to mind for you?
Mm, I'm really thinking about some of these for me, going through and kind of thinking about these examples, and we thought about these before also. Um, I'm sure maybe you all have seen this as well, because I think we all have seen some of these things actually around us, if not in ourselves, but in our workplaces, with a colleague, with a manager. And I think it's interesting that we can kind of notice this, and sometimes in other people easier than we can ourselves. I was just thinking, I had a manager that was the expert, always trying to be involved, always trying to do everything, and they were overwhelmed. And then it went from it also was part of this doing and enabling. So I think that some of this as well. Um, how do I explain this? We'll get to it in more detail, but a lot of it has to do with self-reflection. Sometimes people won't notice it in themselves, but until much later. Whereas maybe you register this in other people, which is a reminder that we all need to kind of um, be more in tune with ourselves.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, now that we've given a couple of examples of what got us here won't get us there, I'm curious whether any of those ring a bell, or any of those kind of struck the chord and made you think of something else. Would you care to share? Maybe, what would be a good example coming from you that worked for you before, doesn't work now to progress, or hindering your progress?
Mhm.
What do you think? Any
Yeah.
takers?
In yourself or in someone
Even
else that you
others that you
witnessed
noticed
and
in others, yeah. Quiet.
it does take a minute to
Yeah,
type, Olga.
true, true.
Mm.
I mean, I can say only about this perfectionism because it was happening yesterday when I totally paralyzed. I did something, I made some decision towards maybe opening my business, and it paralyzed me so much because I thought, okay, it has to be perfect. And so what do I do? Well, I just slept all afternoon because it was too much pressure to to make it perfect, and I cannot make it perfect, but the perfectionism for me, it's a big one for sure. And if I just may, because today it's so crazy, I drew some cards. If I may bring some spirituality here, which is kind of fun, I drew both these cards, and I believe it's towards yesterday experience. If beating yourself up worked, you'd be thin, rich, and happy, loving yourself instead, right? That's the card.
I love that.
And then the second one is action.
Mm.
It's baby steps are still steps, and they are better than standing still.
Yes,
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. I'm
exactly.
beating myself up, but I'm still not thin. Not enough beating, I think.
Yeah, but exactly this, right? It's this could have been a tactic that served when when you were younger, and so you still keep trying to do it,
Mhm.
but it's no longer serving you now. And if anything, it just this way is just paralyzing.
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
let's throw in a couple of examples, Susan, or let's check in maybe Dara or Olympia. You wanted to share something that rang a bell for you when we were sharing what, the two pairs, what worked before, what's not working now.
Yeah, I can share something. It's the classical example of straight A students who think that life is like university or
Me.
school, and then you try to prepare everything because you think the more you prepare, the better it will be. But life and work doesn't work like this. So it's always a struggle for me to accept this. And last week I heard someone say a quote that really struck with me, which is, "You're not playing chess here, you're playing poker." And it's like, yeah,
Nice.
makes a lot of sense.
Nice. Thank you, Olympia.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, really.
And Dara, if you want to share, that'll be great. If you don't, that's absolutely fine.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of because I definitely do relate to it, but I'm trying to think of specific examples. So yeah, also kind of relating with the whole university thing, definitely working with deadlines has always helped me. Working under pressure, and at the moment I've unemployed, kind of long-term unemployed, and I'm just realizing like I needed to quit my job because of pressure and hating it and not being in the right place. But now that I'm unemployed and have no deadlines, I'm like, oh no, this is really bad for me. I keep trying to make deadlines for myself, but I mean they're not real, so they don't always work so well. But yeah, that's kind of, I don't know if that's answers
Yeah.
the topic. But
Interesting. That's a very interesting example. Thank you, Dara, because it's the other way around.
Yeah.
What got you here is your adherence to the deadlines, but now you need to come up with a totally different way of being,
Yeah.
as you're
I think
saying.
that I don't know about you with this, Olga, but I think a lot of people do well with structure and with deadlines that other people make, because it's a bit harder, right, when we make deadlines ourselves, because we can kind of cheat with those. Oh, there's always tomorrow. Accountability is a big thing. So I know that I function like this as well. I always love to get an accountability partner when I need to do something, to someone
That's
to
why we started this series, the two of us, because we both needed an accountability partner.
Yeah, we were like, yeah, we need to do more. We need to talk about our craft more. We need to talk about and we both love helping women. Let's focus on this, and let's work together on it. And
Yeah, and
be
you're
the
right.
team.
And the external deadlines then work for us. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I would say from different situations, I had a client, for example, that they were always really well liked. They were always kind of like the the person everyone likes in the office. And when they got promoted into a more leadership role, they were so afraid of being disliked because they're the boss now that they often didn't want to intervene when there was a problem or a situation. They were afraid that maybe they upset people and that they were maybe that they would have people end up not even liking them because of this. So they were well liked. A lot of people were really happy to promote them and give them this promotional role. But when they got there, they were just frozen by this fear of being disliked.
Wow.
And so we worked together really to see what it is. Is it really about dislike? Will these people dislike you if you make these decisions? Kind of looking at it differently, changing mindset, but also realizing that they wanted to move up into this role, and that's a part of the role. What is to mediate sometimes.
So what worked for that client to do less of people pleasing? Sort of what was the secret pill? How did the client learn to do it?
Yeah, obviously first recognition, and then realizing that just because they might get involved doesn't mean that they will be disliked for the interaction as well. And even then, it was this reframing that you're not going to be a monster at work. This is a part of your job. You wanted this role. And understanding the expectations that this role called for. And also trying to reassure the person as well, and working through, are you really going to be disliked because you're doing your job? I mean, of course, there's maybe certain circumstances, but most likely because they are an easygoing person, I told them I didn't see this happening. But it was a mindset shift, essentially. And it was this mindset shift that allowed them to change this behavior, to get to then take the steps to do what they needed to do in this new role.
Yeah. It's the mindset is the cornerstone. It's the first thing, because you were talking about your client, and the client was very fortunate that that role was already offered to them. Whereas my story comes with about a client who was an amazingly successful analyst with the brain the size of the planet, and they wanted to progress. They could see that how they can do better, at the more senior role for the organization and so on, but they were never offered for a promotion. And sort of we were unpacking what was going on, and how the client would get upset that they're not listened to when they go and talk to the senior stakeholders. They're not listened to. And so we went and unpacked more, and what we used is a self-observation. Let's observe what exactly you're not listened to what are they not listening. And then what we discovered was that because this person was so smart and so into details and could see all of the details, they always wanted to share all of the details. And the more senior stakeholders never have time for the details. They want a summary. They want a trend, and that's all right. And they want to trust you that you've done all the work. That was the only work that person knew how to do, but it was not getting them to the new level. So what we had then to start working on, and we came up with a metaphor. Analysts work with Excel, and board members work with PDFs. So we worked with her with this metaphor. When she goes to talk to the senior stakeholders, is it a PDF speech or is it an Excel speech? And that was the little sort of litmus paper for her to measure. Is it working? Is it not? To cut the long story short, we worked with this client about 5 years ago, and since then they've moved places, and they are now head of AI strategy for a large international company. Talking PDFs, right? So, but that would not have happened if they didn't change their habit of doing details, because that brought them to senior analyst, senior manager of the analyst, but they would not have progressed. They really needed to work very hard on dropping that habit and developing a new habit. And I'm so proud of them. And we still, when we meet, we still talk about PDF, Excel. Yeah. And I'm using it now, sharing with other people the approach. I think it's a good time for us to jump into the solutions. What are the instruments that we offer to our clients to work on, to identify what's not working? How do you work with this, Susan?
Yeah, depending, of course, it's depending on each individual situation, but with some of the common things that we've seen, it's from, different things, like from doing everything, like we talked about earlier, the person that is just so used to being in everything, to enabling your team, supporting your team so that they're able to do the work that you used to do, and now you oversee. So from kind of shifting from this do mentality to enable.
That's a cool one. What I usually do, a lot of times when I start working with someone, I don't know what they're not doing right. We just know that they're stuck and that they're not doing something. So what I usually ask is, okay, let's observe ourselves for like 2 weeks. What's not working? For example, if the issue is I'm not getting promoted, well, what's not working? Or the issue is I can't move on with setting up my new business, as Anita was saying. Well, let's see what's the stumbling blocks. What's stopping me, and that's the observation. Once we find out what it is, then we set out small experiments, practices on how can we play in a sandbox to prove to ourselves that it's working, and then sort of then enlarge the scale and enlarge the scale. And I'll give you an example of what I did with my perfectionism. I used to go to I used to arrange hiking trips around London, and we did it every weekend, and I was in charge of arranging everything, getting everybody notes on which train station they are starting from, where we're meeting, all of that, and what ticket we need to buy, everything. And then at one point I thought, why? It takes 2-3 hours for me to prepare, and I actually don't need to prepare. We'll deal with it, when it comes there. And I remember I just said, yeah, right, we're going to that place, and we hike to this place, and then we go back. And then everyone comes to me and says, but our ticket's going to be valid. And I say, do you know what? I actually don't know. And it felt good, and nothing happened, and I didn't know, and I thought, I'm going to find out when it comes,
And you let them figure it out as well.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, I felt this freedom of not having to do all of this, but that's what I advocate for. Try in small places, like in safe places, and also don't forget that most probably what you're doing, like me being in control, you're not only doing it at work, you're also doing it in family, you're doing it with friends. So try somewhere safe. Like I tried with my friends. I was open with them. I told them about it later. But then make sure that you feel, even in your body, that you're comfortable with this. And then you're ready for a bigger step and for the bigger step. So that's my advice. That's how you start working. You can't jump from Excel to PDF in one day like this. You know, you need to start building the habit.
I'll just expand on Anita's question here about like enabling. Enabling could also mean delegating as well, but not necessarily. It just means when you enable, you allow someone else, especially like in Olga's example, she allowed those people to take this into their own hands to figure out if their ticket is valid. Because when she says, I'm not sure, then they go and they look to see let me look online, where exactly does my ticket take me? Because Olga could have spent the 2 hours looking up all the information from everyone, telling them everything they needed to do. But instead, she enabled people. She allowed them to look up that information for themselves, rather than having to take all that on herself.
It was uncomfortable for me, right? It was also very uncomfortable to them. Because
I think too, it's worse when they're used to you doing everything, and then they're like, why Olga didn't set this up this time? What's going on?
And at one point, they even took my husband to the side and asked, "Is Olga all right?" But that shows you those are the habits that people expect from you, and things need to change, but they need to change slowly, and it did change, but it requires courage, I think.
Yeah, but I'm like that too. I try to handle everything because then I think then there's no problems later because I ensured everything went right. But at the same time, that's a lot of work on ourselves. And so what if it goes wrong? Like it's
And
like we will deal with this if it does happen, but maybe people do figure it out and can do it just fine by themselves.
yes, and things will go wrong.
That's life.
And I think the new habit of knowing that things will go wrong is actually a good habit to start developing. And again, being comfortable with the ambiguity. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking to ask each one of the participants, and maybe let's do it this way. We don't want to leave you without something that you're going to take away. So we'd like to give you this little exercise. If you can take a piece of paper, you don't need to share it with us yet, but take a piece of paper and write down, during this conversation, what is one habit that got you where you are, that you believe is blocking you now. We just wanted for you to write it down. And if you want to share, that'll be great. If not, no pressure at all. So what's one habit that got you where you are, but is blocking you from moving further? Give us a thumbs up when you're done writing. Nice. Oh, nice. Okay. So the next question then is going to be, what is one thing that you need to change from tomorrow or from today? What do you need to start doing differently?
You have me thinking for myself, Olga.
I can
doing the exercise myself.
So can we get thumbs up if you're done?
What if we don't know, Olga?
That's a very good question. So if you don't know, but you know what brought you here and it's not working for you, then I would always send people out to observe.
Hmm.
Let's set up an observation. What others are doing. Who are our role models? What are they doing?
Okay. Hmm.
What are others doing? But not, oh, they're smarter than me. No, they must be doing something different.
Some kind of habit or behavior that they're doing that's working for them.
Different to us. Like, for example, we want to know all the answers, but there's this person who actually very bravely asks questions in the meetings,
Hmm.
right? And then there's this person has a reputation of being strategic thinker, or a good visionary person, and that's what you aspire to be. But what can you find out by observing others that they're doing that you're not doing yet?
Hmm.
I think that's a cool task to do. I have a client who we're finishing up at the moment, and she wanted to she wanted to create. She came to me and she said, "I want to create executive presence."
Hmm. Like was she executive yet or not yet?
She was not. She was a marketing manager, and
And
she
she
was
wanted to level
aspiring
up.
to move up. And she was,
So she wanted to kind of give this branding and this impression that she is executive material.
exactly, so that when the next conversation comes about promotions and so on, she's on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Or that she believes enough inside herself that she is an executive material. So when she goes out to interview, she presents it and projects it. And so she started looking at others and what they do. And then what she discovered, that the executives that she really liked are very eloquent in summarizing in short, and sort of giving a short summary of things, or talking about something in a couple of sentences. And it was really interesting. And English was not her first language. And she always thought, oh, it's because of my English. And then I thought of an activity for her to go and try. But very interestingly, the person she was watching and admiring gave her the same activity, which was a happy coincidence. She then signed up for Toastmasters.
Oh yeah, the speaking. For those who don't know, Toastmasters is an organization that helps with public speaking. Their whole goal is like about perfecting public speaking skills.
Yeah, and they do a lot of exercises there when you're giving when you're timed and you're given a short period of time, and you need to build the speech, sort of opening, two arguments, closure, and so on. And so you train this muscle, which she did. And all of a sudden, she gets feedback now that the name of the organization is Toastmasters.
So toast like you eat, and masters like the masters in golf.
Oh, I always think toast is like you drink. When you toast, when you drink. Because in our culture, we give toasts when we
And
drink.
I'm like, this comes with the very American thing, toast, the ones you eat.
So, and she's been given, we worked with her for half a year, she's been given feedback that she's become much better in the executive meetings. Right? So she identified this is the habit she was lacking. She worked on it in a neutral environment, and then she started using it at work.
Which is perfect. It's a nice safe space to learn it, to practice, and then you take this that you've picked up to work.
Yeah.
I love this. Dara was saying in the chat that she actually joined Toastmasters, and I completely understand. It is really, really difficult when you don't naturally have this skill, but that's why a lot of people join. I've had so many clients, the same as Olga, join to get better at this. I think that's the thing, is normally when we see different leaders and different people with these management roles in companies, we tend to think, wow, they're so eloquent. They just have it like that. No, there's so many of them that went to Toastmasters and that worked and practiced this skill. And that's how they.
And look, I work in comms. Comms people know how much we train our leaders, for example, to take questions from the stage, right? It's a trainable skill. Some train better, some don't. Some want to be trained, some don't. You know, it depends on the person. Oh, and someone on is asking how what can I do to stop stressing? That's a very good question, but that's probably being stressed out didn't get you here, right? Something else got you here. And I know it's like just, you know, look back and see what worked for you before, or also same thing, sort of look around and see what other
What's working for others. Yeah. I think that's a whole topic in itself, is like how to stop stressing. I think that's, we won't have time to go into too much detail, but I think a very short answer on a way to stop is look to see and model those people that you see as role models. But a lot of it has to do with mindset, and it's changing mindset and changing habits.
Yeah. So
I'm cognizant of time, Olga. You know, time is never our friend with these things. We're always running out of it.
Yeah, so I wanted to wrap up a question, and maybe you can share in the chat what's one thing that you're going to be doing differently after this, having participated in this talk. What's one thing that you'll start tomorrow?
We might be scaring people by saying this, start tomorrow. They're like, oh, starting tomorrow? I don't know. What's one thing you want to start? Let's maybe.
Okay. We're going to go easy on you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking too.
Small thing.
Yeah. I think that's the thing I always try to remind clients is, you know, we're not trying to conquer the world here. It's baby steps. Baby steps are really, that's how you get somewhere.
Find role models. Observe. Yeah.
Yes.
They have done.
Love that. Yes. And honestly, there are people out there who have done the change you've done. I've seen so many people do so many positive changes, and that are great examples for it.
Yeah, we'll try to allow imperfections. That's a good one. And also, when you find role models, talk to them, because I always say it's prototyping, right? Because you want to be like them, but maybe the grass is not as green as you think, right? So you take them out for a coffee and you just chat with them, but you ask open questions, you know, well, how do you, I notice you do this, how do you manage it? And maybe they'll tell you, well, I'm so confident in the meeting because I prepped the whole night. Is it the life you want? Not sure, right? But now you know.
But yeah, and it becomes clearer, I think, too. Yeah. It breaks down some of these assumptions that we may have about some of these people as well, and how they got to where they are.
It's an amazing source of information. Yeah.
Good.
I love the allowing imperfections. I don't know who the Zoom user, the Zoom user on the call is. I would make an assumption it's a female user, because I'm going to give you an example of how to allow imperfections that no one sees it. For example, when you're dressing up and your underwear doesn't match, who cares? No one sees it. But
Olga, you're so type A, you would match your underwear. I'm lucky if I get matching socks.
No, I don't, because that was the exercise that I did. Okay. You allow yourself to be imperfect in things people don't see, and you relax in your body, and it's like, oh, I can do other things. So
maybe that's the way to slowly stop stressing, to allow imperfections, to work on it.
Practice small things. Yeah.
Good.
You're welcome. I always give my clients all sorts of weird things. Oh, another one. When you unload the dishwasher, if your cupboards are perfect, you know, big plates, small plates, try to mix it all up and live like this for a day, for a week, right?
Putting like
Even if
a
you load in the dishwasher, you know how some people have this system of loading the dishwasher? Give
I
yourself
think we've
permission
lost
not to
Sarah
do
here.
it.
She's like, no, too much, too much. But I think it is like it's exercising to get out of your comfort zone.
Yes.
It's part of this as well.
And check in with yourself. It's liberating. You write me a note when you've done it and tell me how you felt.
Mm.
I can promise you're going to feel third day in a row after stacking your dishwasher without any thinking, you're going to feel liberated. All right, let's.
I'm off to go stack my dishwasher differently now. Thank you, everyone, so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if you haven't yet, feel free to connect with both Olga and I on LinkedIn. And we will be in touch, hopefully, at another time with you all. Thank you again for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. And good luck with the dishwasher.
Yeah, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I might be really like disturbed after. We'll see.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone. See you.